Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Saturday Night Live with Mick. Get in the comments, smash the like button, tell me what you want to talk about. I want to get into this Snyder fans furious with James Gunn thing, because James Gunn had a bit of a little set to with a Snyder fan on Twitter. I agree with his reasons, by the way. And it goes like this. James Gunn was paying respects to Kevin Conroy again? Forgot his surname again. And a Snyder fan goes, fuck James Gunn, release the Snyder Cut. So James responded to it. And you can understand why. So, yeah, look, this is going to be a thing now because they're not going to let go. They'll never let go. It's part of their, look, there's the fans who just are doing it because they want to see something. And then there's the cultists who take things too far. And I mean, the ones that we see on our Twitter timelines that come out with absolute bullshit. I get fed up of them. You get fed up of them. And, you know, James Gunn, to me, my experiences of James Gunn and my interactions with him, because I have tweeted him before, he has tweeted me back. And it's been very, very good. And he's a straight arrow, polite guy who likes to interact with the fans. But, you know, when someone as iconic as Kevin Conroy dies and you're going in there and you're swearing at someone and you're saying, release the Snyder Cut, whether you're a Snyderverse fan or you're not a Snyderverse fan, I think you can agree that's bang out of order. And you can understand why James was disappointed about that, frustrated about that. And really, it just makes the rest of us look bad. Whether we're Snyder fans or just DC fans, it just makes us look bad when you hear all the discussions about toxic fandoms, because that truly is toxic fandom. And I try and defend fans as much as I can, but there's some things you simply can't defend. You know, in the end, you're defending the indefensible. And so obviously, a lot of them now are attacking James Gunn, saying this, saying that. And look, it ain't going to work. He's in charge. You're not. And, you know, they're going to try and do something that works. Simple as that. They're there to make the company money. They're not there to run a charity. And we know from Snyder that he hasn't been contacted. So that really is the end of the story. And it's up to you how you want to respond to that, how you want to take that. I mean, you did get 3 really good movies from Snyder. It's not, you know, you got more from Snyder than we got from Dick Donner. Dick Donner did 1 movie. I mean, you could argue even the theatrical version of Superman 2 has a lot of Dick Donner's scenes in them. So I think you've got a trilogy. You've got a good Snyder trilogy, and, you know, you should be happy about that because it's a near miracle they allowed those films to even be released in the first place, considering the pressure they were under from comic book writers, artists, you know, diehard DC stans as well. So Snyder got 3 really good movies released. I think you should be happy about that. But if you're going to swear at James Gunn, if you're going to abuse him, then he's going to say something, right? And everyone's going to see your bad take. So telling the man to F off when he's merely showing respect to an iconic DC actor, who Kevin Conroy clearly is. And I mean, you know, Snyder fans don't like it when some DC fans call them not real DC fans. But let me ask you this. Would a real true blue DC fan come in on someone when they're paying respect to someone like Kevin Conroy? Most of us were too busy to be saddened by Kevin's death instead of hashtagging release the Snyder Cut or anything else, or asking him about a slate or whatever. So if you're a DC fan, you respect the fact that Kevin's dead, and people, famous people, including the co-chair of DC Studios, is going to have something to say about that. And telling the man to F off says something about you. You want to be called real DC fans, right? And then you come out and say, oh, where were all the real DC fans to go and watch Black Adam? We all went and saw Black Adam, and we had a good time. And there's been some really good repeat viewings, right? The numbers are not high in terms of box office, but it's done what it's always going to do. The studio is happy with that. The CEO of the studio is happy with it. So no matter, how often you come at Black, a lot of Snyder fans do this all the time. This was a flop. That was a flop. Black Adam wasn't a flop. Shazam wasn't a flop, right? The Batman, they keep on telling us, Snyderverse stands, that the Batman was a flop. Aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you embarrassed that Matt Reeves and Zack Snyder are good friends? But you're still attacking that film. Hello! Matt Reeves was the first one to congratulate Zack when the Snyder Cut was released. Hello! Are you that effing deluded? It doesn't make sense, does it? How can you go after a man's work who loves Zack Snyder, who Zack Snyder loves and respects too? I don't understand. Maybe it's Zack's mistake for not calling out these people as well. He does stay silent because he doesn't want to lose these fans. And I think sometimes Zack should come out and say, Matt Reeves is my mate. Stop going after his film. Because James Gunn would certainly do that if his fans went after someone that he liked and he respected. You think it's unfair because Ben Affleck's The Batman movie never got made. It is unfair. But that's not Matt Reeves' fault. And I know you're upset because they asked him to direct Ben Affleck's The Batman, and he said, no, I want to do my own thing. Well, he's a huge Batman fan and stan, and he had a vision for Batman, a freaking good vision, if you ask me. So what happened to Ben Affleck, what happened to Snyder, wasn't Matt Reeves' fault. And you see, what some of you Snyder fans do, you create a situation where people hate you, right? I agree. When BBS came out, we were all being bullied for loving it, right? It was horrible. And I know a lot of the bad takes come from that. But all you're doing is becoming the thing that you hate. You came onto Twitter, right, to show your love for Zack's work because it was being shat on. And that's good. But once you shit on other people's work, it makes you just as bad as them. And that's how I see it. So if you go after James Gunn, he's going to respond, right? You can't, you're all acting, the injured parties here with what he said to that fan. But he swore at him. I saw it. He swore at him. Why do you think it's all right for you to go after someone? It doesn't matter if he's famous and he's got a blue tick, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can't swear at people. Good manners cost nothing, right? Deep down they're not going to restore the Snyderverse. It's pretty obvious now that we're starting something new. That's, you can give as many bad takes as you want, but James Gunn and Peter Safran are in charge and you're not. And I know what some of you think. Oh, we got the Snyder Cut released. We can do this. The only reason the Snyder Cut was released because they were desperate to launch HBO Max with something. It's a different environment now because, as I say, they want to make money and they don't want to shave upwards. This is why they're asking fans' opinions on what characters that haven't been in the theatre before do they want to see. This is a good thing. So I don't think you can complain about James Gunn's conduct since he became, past 2 weeks, became co-chair of DC Studios. But if you swear at someone, they have every right to come back at you, What do you expect? What do you think you can say whatever you want, and not get any blowback? The rest of us don't swear at people. The rest of us don't threaten people or get in people's DMs because that's normal behavior. And all you do is make the rest of us look bad, And what you do is as well, you make the proportionately good Snyder fans look like CUNTs, right, at the end of the day. Because you're representing them as well. You're representing Zack Snyder and you're making him look bad as well. Hashling me, yo, Mike, yo. Hashling me, why? I don't know why you're saying why. Why what? Anyway, and so, it's all very well, swearing at someone, but you can't be doing that. So hang on, you want James Gunn to restore the Snyderverse, so you swore at him. Yeah, that's going to work, isn't it? Sometimes I think these people live in a cave and they're not used to interacting with normal human beings. And I find out they're fathers, and husbands. And they act like this. And to me, it's ridiculous. John, hi, Mick. How was your weekend? Been so far? Oh, very well. Yeah, a great weekend. And it's just the beginning for me. But yes, thank you, John. I hope your weekend's going well as well. And welcome to the live chat where we're talking about Snyder fans being furious with James Gunn. And at the end of the day, as I say, manners cost nothing. Now, I got into it with a Snyder fan on here. Now, we all know that I love Zack's 3 DC movies. We know that. But once you go after Donner and Reeve, then you're going to see the ugly side of me. Because Christopher Reeve and Dick Donner have made the best Superman film of all time, right? Simple as that. Simple as that. It's over. There's no even contesting that. So this is what I mean. This is what they do. They can't just love what they love. They have to put down the things that other people love. And that's the problem. I mean, they've been going after Christopher Reeve and Dick Donner for years because it's jealousy. It's envy. It's like the Nixon versus Kennedy thing. Nixon hated President Kennedy because Kennedy looked good, he was cool, and the people loved him, and the people hated him. And that's that thing, But what about Christopher Reeve's Superman? They did this. What about that? Most of it's total bullshit and total lies. You can never change the fact that Dick Donner's Superman was the first superhero movie, the first Superman movie, and it's beloved across the world. You can say whatever you want. Saying something doesn't make it true. You can't change the iconography of Superman the movie. So it's actually a waste of time. You can't change history. It will always be loved and respected, and you can't change that. And mouthing off on Twitter doesn't change anything. Hot takes don't change anything. Bad takes don't change anything, right? The Snyderverse ain't coming back, is it? I think pretty obvious that the haircut is not going to be released. Now, you cannot like that. You can be upset about that. But, being abusive, being disrespectful on other people's work doesn't change the fact. What happened, happened. You've got to make some concessions here. Warner Brothers are a business. They need to make money. The Snyderverse didn't give them the business they wanted. That's it. You can actually make that concession without disrespecting your love for Zack Snyder. You know that. You know that. You know it didn't work as a mainstream, franchise. You know that. That's factual. So this upset we see on Twitter sometimes because it's the repeating of takes all the time with no concession in understanding. This is why some people call them, not real DC fans, because they hate the DC we all love. And it's all the time. Best movie, best take. But oh yeah. But that's your opinion, and that's okay. But people just get fed up. John, with James Gunn in charge now, do you think we could get a Green Arrow movie in the future? Definitely. I would be absolutely stunned if we don't get Green Arrow in the first slate. I'd be very surprised. I think that's one character they need to do, for sure. He's such an important character. He's just as important as anyone. How they do him, obviously the Arrow show wasn't that, let's say, comic book accurate, but very good. They went Batman with him. They went Batman Begins and Dark Knight with him, because that's what season 1 of Arrow is. Season 1 of Arrow is Batman Begins, and season 2 of Arrow is The Dark Knight. instead of the Joker, they use Deathstroke. But yeah, I do see that because I think Green Arrow is a great character. And I think ultimately, when we get down past these 10 years, the first 10 years of the DC universe, you will see most of these characters catalogued either in the cinema, television, or animation. And so, yeah, it's not just going to be the Holy Trinity. It's not just going to be the characters we always see. They're going to fill this out. This is going to be a proper universe. That's why it's called DC Universe instead of the DC Extended Universe. One connected universe. And so that's exciting. And yeah, I definitely think we'll get a Green Arrow movie or a Green Arrow something because, yeah, Green Arrow is a really important, iconic DC character, isn't he? So it will be a shame not to see him. So I think that's one of the ones we'll definitely get. I mean, we have had him on TV quite a lot, but yeah, I think it's something that people have been asking for a long time, a Green Arrow movie. Probably not the most popular things being requested, but yeah, I would love to see it. Ronnie Dodge, hey Mick, them fans can keep crying. He put them in their place. Yeah, yes, that one fan he really called out. Quite sarcastic to him as well. But yeah, look, it's just going to carry on because they will never stop. When you're deluded, when you're a blunt object, you can't see the other side. They just live in this bubble. Snyder, everything's got to be Snyder, everything. You know, if it wasn't for Snyder, that film wouldn't have happened. If it wasn't for Snyder, that film wouldn't have happened. You know, total bullshit. But I've never seen movie fans so obsessed with one director. Not even Kubrick fans are like this. And Kubrick is one of the greatest directors who ever lived. It's effing insane. I don't know if they're trolls. I don't know if they're bots. But I've never seen an obsession before with one director. And it really does confuse me where it comes from. I mean, I like him, but on the levels of having icons on their walls, ridiculous. Ronnie Dodge, if you want Snyderverse, you've got to suck up to James. That's how it's going to work. But that fan probably just blew that chance. A reply about a person dying is disgusting. It is, and if you call yourself a DC fan and have that embarrassing take in a post about that iconic DC actor, you can't be a DC fan. Marcus Walker, to be honest, DC heroes outside of the jail don't interest me. The villains are more iconic. Well, you know, due respect to you, Marcus, whether you like them or not, you know, this is a DC universe. And there's going to be different DC fans who like the different characters. And they have every right to see these characters on the big screen, on the small screen, in animation, right? Because unlike you, they do care. And so, you know, it's not just about the villains. It's not just about 3 or 4 characters. Those characters are going to be catalogued. It's not about them instead of them. It's about having a universe, a built-out universe with a lot of these DC characters catalogued. And I think that's great. John, they could also have Black Canary in a Green Arrow movie. They could. Ronnie Dodge, Hiram Garcia just teased where we will see Atom Smasher next. And where's that then? Yeah, it looks like to me that maybe the JSA are going to get more. I think it's the JSA that are going to get the spin-offs and not Black Adam. Wouldn't surprise me. It's looking that way, isn't it? That the JSA, I think, when they did their research, kind of was more popular than Black Adam himself, which is interesting. So I think they're definitely, yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see. Unless they're squeezing him in one of the Hamada movies. Maybe that's the thing. Ronnie Judge, he just said, can't wait to see what they do with the character next. So it doesn't sound very sure, does he? I mean, does he know? Doesn't sound like he even knows, does he? It's going to be interesting what happens here with Black Adam. because The Rock does sound sure that there's going to be spin-offs and stuff. So let's see if that actually comes to fruition. Marcus Walker, what do you think of the zero interaction between James and The Rock on Twitter? Everyone congratulated James except him. Do you know what, Marcus? I've been thinking this myself. I mean, like you, I do notice these things. And when someone doesn't kind of congratulate someone, it is interesting. I would imagine that there is something to that for sure. Now, Black Adam and these JSA actors may turn up in these final 4 Hamada movies. And it may be a situation that none of them will have anything to do with the DC universe. Potentially, we could have a new Black Adam for Shazam in the new DC universe, and new actors playing these, playing these JSA members as well. We simply don't know. So what I think about that is that it's very, very telling that The Rock hasn't congratulated him, because he does like to tell you, oh, this person's my friend, or that person's my friend. So, yeah, there's definitely something there. And that tells me that maybe The Rock and this existing Shazam universe won't have anything to do, because it's going to be a brand new DC universe. So you're right to call that up. Ronnie Dodge, seeing Jason excited about James and Peter in charge is exciting. Yeah, he's excited probably because he's been given something. Marcus Walker, James and The Rock are both strong personalities. I don't think they could work together. Listen, it's nothing to do with that. There's plenty of strong personalities. I've worked with strong personalities. I run my own theatre company. I write and direct and star in my own plays. I've got actors who think they're in fucking Hollywood instead of, at a voluntary place in a theatre. And it's the way you deal with those people, because actors have got their own ideas how their characters should be portrayed, and you've got to make them seen. You've got to make them feel that they're being seen and respected. So I don't think it's about that, Marcus. I think if James thought he was a good fit with what he wanted to do, that wouldn't be an issue. But I think maybe we don't know. It could be something and nothing. Maybe we're reading too much into it. But it could be that James just doesn't want him involved. We're sick. Ronnie Joyce, Dwayne has ideas. It's down to James and Peter if they want to take them on. Yeah, listen, look, it is what it is. I mean, my opinion about taking a Shazam villain and giving him his own movie. Not the best of ideas. And basically, it didn't really do... It did okay. It did okay. It was an okay, entertaining movie. I had a good time with it. But really, it probably wasn't the best of ideas. I think if you're honest with yourselves, I think you can say, yeah, he should have just been in the first movie, right? That movie would have made so much money if we had The Rock versus Zachary Levi, right? That's what should have happened. Ronnie George, Black Adam is like a C-class DC character. It's beyond that, Ronnie. I agree with you, but it's not about the class, because you could make a Plastic Man movie, and that could make lots of money if the kids and the families go in. It's not really about what level character you are. The point is, he's merely a Shazam villain, and he should have been the villain in the Shazam movie. That's his position. But he wanted to build Black Adam out. The problem is, there's nothing to Black Adam. There's nothing there. Those of us who have seen the film know you can't revolve a whole film around Black Adam. That's why it's barely 2 hours long. The more interesting elements of that film are everything else but Black Adam, like the JSA, the potential ISIS character and the little boy. They're more interesting than he is. He's simply a villain, and he should have been in the first Shazam movie. I did like Black Adam. But the point is, it's you see they didn't need to make a whole film about Black Adam, and I think we can see that now. Whether his silence on James Gunn, if we're reading too much into it, we'll have to wait and see, because he was going around during the marketing saying this was phase 1 of the new DC. Well, with Superman there and looking new and different, he could have a point. Again, it's a wait and see scenario, isn't it? But yeah, look, I must admit though, Marcus, you've got to, it's true. He didn't congratulate him. It's interesting. And we still don't know what the connection is between DC Universe and the DCEU, if any. We still don't know that, do we? I mean, it's like I'm repeating myself, but we don't. We don't know. We don't know what the F is going on. And I don't think we're going to, in the near future, we're going to know. I mean, around March, April time, he's going to be promoting Guardians 3. It's a really odd situation, isn't it? The sooner that's all over, the better for me, so we can get that out of the way and he can focus on his job. Because it is weird that they announced it when they did, considering he's still got to go back to Marvel and deal with that film. But as I said on my video, which was really just a triggering video just to wind up people, when people see Guardians 3, Marvel fans are going to see what they're losing. Because he is the most talented creative at the studio. And to lose that, it is a ridiculous situation. Everyone praises Feige as a genius. Well, it's not very clever, is it, to allow him to become the co-lead of the newly formed DC studios, is it? I don't think that's good business, is it? I don't think it is. So, obviously, he was never going to stay there, as I predicted months and months ago. And that's to do with Disney. That's his issue. That's James's issue. His issue is clearly with Disney. Now, publicly, he says he likes James Gunn and he's grateful to James Gunn and he was the first person he told about the DC job. Fair enough. But there's definitely an issue between Gunn and Disney. Otherwise, he would have stayed. But the sacking of James Gunn and the clever person, whoever it was, who brought James Gunn to DC in the first place, which was either Hamada or Emmerich, so they did something right, that's what got it all in motion. I remember James being asked during the promotion of the Suicide Squad, would you like to run the DC itself? And he goes, that's not what I'm interested in. Look where we are now. It's funny how life works out, isn't it? Marcus Walker, did you see Black Adam isn't being released in China because Pierce Brosnan took a picture with the Dharma a decade ago? Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's very, very small-minded, but it is what it is. You know when a movie's released, we know that, the studios know that there's a chance you won't get released in China. It's one of those things, it's part of life with this industry, So I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my God, it's not in China. I knew there was always a chance of that. That's life. And you've got to be strong enough in the box office in other places for that not to matter. Unfortunately for Black Adam, its box office is very small. So we'll see how that's really deemed by Zaslav. Publicly, he said he's happy with that. But it'll be interesting what's that. I mean, listen, I've said it all along that doesn't really matter about Black Adam, doesn't really matter about Shazam, Fury of the Gods or the other movies, because we're stepping into something new. Those movies are there. They want them to make as much money, of course they do, as possible. But in terms of anything else, I don't think they're that important. They're just there. They've been made. They have to be released. They're not part of the future. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are. But that's how it seems to me. Yeah, that's ridiculous that a picture that Pierce took over a decade ago, it just shows you, though, what kind of world we live in. It's nuts, isn't it? It's insane. And the poor Chinese people can't see it, and they want to see it. John, Black Panther 2 is also not being released in China. Yeah, I know. The difference is Wakanda Forever has got a stronger box office, and it can take it more, can't it? But they're all boasting about the box office. But when you compare that box office to phases 1 to 3, with the subtraction of Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2, that box office ain't that strong. But they're stat padding. And let's not forget that Disney makes sure that Marvel gets released in triple the theaters that the other movies do as well. So it's all stat padding. It's all stat padding. This time next week, Wakanda Forever would have had a 70 to 80% drop-off. I promise you that. And they'll find other ways to stat pad that as well. I think it's going to make about the same money as Thor Love and Thunder. It probably is a better film. I haven't seen it, but it probably is a better film. But when did a quality of the movie, decide its box office? Clearly, it's not a movie you go back and see again and again and again. If anyone's seen it, how many more times are you going to go back to see that movie? Marcus has seen it. How many times are you going to go back and watch that movie, Marcus? Be honest. If you're still here, Marcus, I don't know if you're still here. Marcus Walker, I'm seeing you again next Saturday. But how many times are you going to go and see that film, Marcus? Be honest. Don't try and say something to make me look stupid. How many times genuinely could you sit there watching that film where literally they're just milking the fact that somebody died? That's the film. That's the film. That's it. Milking, taking advantage on somebody's death. So if you say I'm going to watch it another 5 or 6 times, you're just doing that to make a point, I think. Because there's no way you're going to sit there and enjoy that movie if you see it 5 or 6 times. And you look at the kind of film that Black Adam is. That has a lot of rewatchability because it's actually a fun time in the cinema. Pac-Man, I saw Black Panther 2. It was good except for some parts. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. That's such a modern day thing to say. I like Black Panther 2. It was good except for some parts. Marcus Walker, I disagree. I would have gone straight back in when it finished. So you're quite look, good luck to you. Good luck to you. If you genuinely, why didn't you? Why didn't you? Why didn't you sit there and watch 3 or 4 showings, Marcus? You should have done. If it's that good, if it's not boring, if milking somebody's death, a husband and a father's death, so Disney and Marvel Studios can make money is your type of thing. If you get off on that, why not? Personally, if I did go to the cinema, which I'm not to see it, because it's a waste of my time and money, it offers nothing, right? If I did go and see it, I wouldn't see it again and again and again, because that ain't cinema to me. That's just the milking. That's just the milking of a cow, right? And what's worse is they're using somebody's death, a father and a husband's death, to make money. That's basically the film. That's the film. Marcus Wilkes saw it in Dolby Atmos. Jesus Christ. You must be wealthy to be wasting that kind of money on a film like that. A one and done movie like that. Wow. $23 to see that. That's not even a Dolby Atmos type of movie. I mean, I wish I could have done that for Man of Steel or Aquaman or Wonder Woman. But that movie, Jesus Christ, more money than sense. Kal-El, Justice League sucked. Birds of Prey sucked. Wonder Woman 84 sucked. Guns the Suicide Squad sucked. No, Kal-El, Guns the Suicide Squad didn't suck. I'm assuming you're a Snyder fan, right? They all flop, but Gunn got the keys to DC. Perplexing is what it is. Why? Why is it perplexing? Why is it perplexing? Why do you think Zack Snyder should have got the keys? A man who shaves upwards, a man who created a problem within the universe. The universe didn't look, from Batman versus Superman, a film I personally love. Listen, at the end of the day, you can say that flopped. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. James Gunn is a talented creative. And yeah, I don't know if he's going to do a good job or not, But Birds of Prey has nothing to do with James Gunn. Wonder Woman 84 had nothing to do with James Gunn, right? Now, most people love James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. That's the truth. It's a very good comic-accurate movie. So, I mean, look, if you want to shove the propaganda in there, it doesn't matter. Kuma Ali Masud, is Grace Randolph still in denial of Henry Cavill having officially returned as Superman? Why is Grace always salty about DC? Don't give her the time of day. Why do you lot make Grace Randolph like she's important? Why do you care what she thinks? She's nothing. She's just doing what I do, but she gets lots of viewers. That's it. She's got nothing to add. If you don't like what she says, don't consume her shit. That will really teach you. Pac-Man, the problem is they stuffed this tribute thing with other plots. Felt like a series stuffed into a movie. Yeah, it's a film that, in the end, it doesn't... Look, it's a film, ultimately, that doesn't really matter. Like most of the Marvel films. Kal-El, Gunn's filmography sucks. What sucks about Gunn's filmography? Someone else could say that Snyder's filmography sucks as well. Right? There's loads of filmographies we could just say they suck. I mean, that's not really a detailed, intelligent take, is it? If that's all you're going to say. He's done Scooby-Doo. Did he do Scooby-Doo 2 as well? Very entertaining movies. He did Guardians 1 and Guardians 2. Very good movies, right? Did he do Sliver? He wrote the movie Zach directed, the zombie movie, right? So basically, that means you're saying the zombie movie that Zach directed was shit, because that's part of Gunn's filmography. So you've just, yeah, well done. That zombie movie that Zack Snyder directed was shit. You're right. It was utter shit. Well done for saying that. Utter shit, that zombie movie. Crap. Utter crap, yeah. John, I did not know anything about Bloodsport, King Shark, and others before the Suicide Squad. No, this is what he does. He introduces characters, that you wouldn't have heard of before and makes them great. Look what he did with Peacemaker via the Suicide Squad, then the Peacemaker show. I defy anyone to say you don't like Peacemaker anymore, all those characters, after you completed Peacemaker. So to say you don't have to like the man's filmography, but just to throw it in there, his filmography sucks. Be intelligent. Tell me why. Give me some depth of thought. Why do you think the man's filmography sucks? We're having a discussion here. This is not hot take central. But super. Guardians 1 and 2 did really well. I think Zaslav looks at that rather than the Suicide Squad that flopped because of COVID and HBO Max. Not Gunn's fault. I don't think he's looking at his films as much. He's looking at the man. He can see what the man does. He's looked at the man's ideas, because clearly they all had interviews, right, when he was going through the process. And believe it or not, there was a fucking queue of people who wanted to run DC. Don't listen to the fucking media. Because if James Gunn thought that there was going to be a problem, he wouldn't have taken the job, right? He could have just been a director. He's always going to get work. He would have done Peacemaker, he would have done Suicide Squad 2, and he would have been fine. Clearly, he thinks he's got something to offer. He is a man with good ideas, and he has an understanding of comic books. Ronnie George, I think we will see Idris return, as he did pay for promotion for the Beast. He has a DC project coming up. We will see. I hope we do see Idris again. I would love to see Will Smith again. But, yeah, and this is what we've got to find out. What's connected to the new DC universe and what's not. You'd imagine the stuff that the co-chair of DC Studios has done is connected. Maybe. I don't exactly know how it's all going to work. Nobody does. But this is the kind of stuff we get on Twitter all day. Oh, James Gunn's rubbish, But basically, Kal-El, what you're saying to me is everyone's rubbish apart from Zack Snyder. As I say, not even Stanley Kubrick has that type of fandom. It's fucking amazing to me. Ronnie Dodge, I think we would know. Pac-Man, don't forget Peacemaker. I had very low expectations, but it became gold. Peacemaker was fantastic. I mean, the first episode started off slow, but once they got warmed up, it was so good. John, I never thought I would ever enjoy seeing a shark character on the big screen before the Suicide Squad. Well, I've always liked King Shark. I liked him in the Flash TV series as well. So I was so excited when I heard he was going to be on it. Kal-El, here's some more intelligent conversation from Kal-El. Gunn is a hack. He isn't capable of handling the major heroes. He sticks to the obscure because he is a hack. Donna Burton and Nolan Snyder, Gunn. But why is he hack? Why is he a hack? If he's done well with the obscure, that's a talent, right? Now, he likes the obscure. He doesn't like dealing with the popular ones. He likes making the obscure popular and relatable, and that's what he's done. So to call him a hack, the idea he's a hack when he's been able to handle all these characters that most of us have never heard of before and make them popular and relatable means he's not actually a hack. You know, but I mean, if you want to believe he's a hack, that is, in a democracy, you have every right to think James is a hack. John, I did not know King Shark was in the Flash. He was in the Flash. He's been in the Flash TV series a few times, actually. Yeah, that's where I found out about him. Great character. Obviously, James did him very differently. And we had Vigilante in the Arrow TV show as well. Obviously a different version to Vigilante, but yeah. But whether you think he's a hack or not, he is the co-chair of DC Studios, and that's it. It's done. Someone had to take control of this mess. The DCEU was a mess. Individually as films, they're great, but it never worked as a franchise, and it was rejected by the general audience. And they're the facts. Whether you want to take those facts or not, it's up to you, really. It's all there, isn't it? A Superman film's got to be making $1 billion in the modern era. A Batman and Superman film's got to be taking No Way Home money. These are the facts, and they didn't do that. And there's a reason why they didn't do that. I mean, some people call Zack Snyder a hack. I don't agree with that assertion either, but people do call Zack a hack. I'm sure you're not going to agree with that, but so you could call James Gunn a hack, but they're going to, the people who don't like Snyder, and there's a lot of people who don't like Zack's work, by the way, as I'm sure that you know, this is the problem. But he is in control now. He is in control now. It doesn't really matter what people say. He is in control, and that's the way that it is. And we'll see. Look, we'll see if it's a good move to put James Gunn in charge. It may end up in tears. I'm not Nostradamus. I can't tell you it's going to be successful. They've decided to go this direction. We will have to see. We will see how it all pans out. But no one's Nostradamus. Nobody knows if he's going to be successful in this role or not, because he's brought pressure on himself, because he didn't need this pressure. As I say, he could have just kept on making movies, and he decided to take this on. So it's a great opportunity. And I like the structure. You've got Zaslav, Adby, DeLuca, Gunn, and Safran. So if they happen to make some decisions that are not good, then Zaslav isn't going to allow it. So I do like the structure. It's a very good structure. Already we've seen Zaslav, cancel a woke Green Lantern series, So he doesn't mess about. I mean, personally, I had a great time with James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Is it the best CBM ever? No, of course it's not. But it's good. I mean, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but nor is Snyder everybody's cup of tea. You can't be liked by everyone. What you do can't be liked by everyone. Yes, I'm not going to sit here making excuses for the Suicide Squad not doing well in theatres globally. Whatever happened, happened. It's there. It's history. Clearly, the studio liked something it did. Clearly, they were happy with what it did on HBO Max to give him more work. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given him more work. Because he clearly has told them what he thinks should be done with it, DC. And clearly, Zaslav, as a clever businessman and a DC fan himself, by the way, who has great knowledge with DC, kind of liked that. So, John, was you a fan of John Cena before the Suicide Squad? To be honest with you, I only knew John. Well, actually, it's funny because John does follow a bunch of people, and John follows me as well on Twitter. He follows a lot of people, by the way. But I didn't know who John was before Peacemaker. I'll be honest, I had heard his name before. I know he'd done films and he'd been a wrestler, but I didn't really follow. So I wasn't a fan of his, but not because I didn't like him, just because I didn't know of him really, apart from his name. But he's got some good acting teeth. His performance in Peacemaker is actually sensational. I mean, he's definitely a better actor than The Rock. I will say that. He's wrestlers are actors anyway, because it's not real. But yeah, his performance in Peacemaker is fucking sensational. It really is good. He deserves an Emmy for that work. Definitely. He won't get one because of what he was doing and who he is. But definitely, what a performance by John. And yeah, a lot of newly found respect for him ever since I saw him in the Suicide Squad. Look, Gunn set up Peacemaker brilliantly. He evolved him over 2 projects. So that's not hack behavior. That's good storytelling now. That proves he knows what he's doing. So yeah, I think people underestimate James Gunn. The only reason Snyder fans don't like him because he's not Zack Snyder. That's why Snyder fans don't like Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner. This is why we keep on hearing shit that Superman murdered the villains from Krypton in Superman 2 when there's no bodies. Prove it. Just prove it. Nonsense. Just nonsense to try and defend the indefensible. That's it. And I'm not really a wrestling fan, to be honest with you. It's not my thing. Please smash a like on the like button if you haven't already. Thank you for the people who have liked the video. I hope you've enjoyed the content today. We did the DC Universe Daily Live, 2 pre-recorded videos, not 1. And now we're live on Saturday night. Hello, if Gunn had confidence, he would reboot fully with a new cast. Well, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I would start again. I wouldn't even be touching anything from the previous universe. Everyone will be gone. Robbie, Cavill, Affleck, everyone. They would all be fucking gone. Because the DCEU has a stench of failure. Really good films, but as a franchise, it stinks of failure. Stinks of failure. Didn't work. And I certainly, James Gunn can kind of use those actors and still be successful. Hey, wow, credit to him. But for me, I would have started completely again and just set up the kind of universe that I'd want to set up. Hello, the Snyderverse lives through the actors. The DCU stunk of bad management. Well, here's the thing, Kal-El, and this is my opinion. I like Zack's work. I like Zack's DC. But Zack Snyder should never have been empowered to run a mainstream DC universe. That's where the problems begun. The first mistake, putting Nolan in charge, an auteur, right? Who knows nothing about DC. That's why he was working with Goya, because Goya has written DC comics before. and Nolan knows nothing. He's not really even a DC fan. He kind of liked Batman. So Nolan was the first mistake. The second mistake was Snyder. This is not you in power to start a DC universe that you want to make $1 billion a picture and be relatable to kids, mums, dads, right? So the mistake was there. So when we talk about the bad leadership, the people in power wanted to get rid of him because it was a nightmare. The reaction to BVS was divisive. The reaction to Suicide Squad was divisive. So it was a problem. Kal-El, Zack only wanted a fine film story leading into Flashpoint and a full reboot. And by the time you got him there, he should have been allowed to do that. The problem was the people in control didn't want him there. They saw him as a problem because it is Zack's way or no way. And when you're working with studio funds, you can't have that attitude. You've got to work with the people who run the business. And Snyder isn't willing to do that, which makes him problematic. Kal-El, WB thought they could copy Marvel. Well, what they want is the Marvel success, the Marvel money, because Kal-El, at the end of the day, they are a business, not a charity. John, and at the Suicide Squad's premiere, John Cena turned up in his Peacemaker costume. He did. Dabby and Donaldson, I think James Gunn could bring something positive to the DCU. I think that as well. But I mean, we've been here so many times with DC. Let's hope so. I hope so, because I don't have bias. I don't have loyalties to directors and actors. I have loyalty to DC. I want DC to be the best it can be. Don't care about directors. Don't care about personalities. I just want it to work. And I want it to work for everyone, not just for me, for everyone. But Snyder fans just want to work for them and their man. That's the difference. Their loyalty isn't to DC. It's to Snyder. That's a problem to me. Daddy and Donaldson, I think James Gunn could know. I've read that. Kal-El, keeping Snyderverse actors gives the impression Snyder could return. This is the problem. Well, listen, I mean, you could call them Snyderverse actors. He did pick them. But, they're WB employees. They can use who they want. So I don't think it gives that impression to me. It just means that they like the castings. And they know that Cavill's popular. They know Gadot's popular. They know Momoa's popular. Although he could be, they could recast Aquaman and give him someone like Lobo. Who knows what the thinking's going to be here? But you don't, I asked a question on this morning's DC Universe Daily Live. If it is a reboot, maybe they should have thought of recasting Superman. If it is the Snyderverse Superman, and you can understand why they kept him. So it's going to be interesting what they do. And if it is a rebooted Superman, is it wise to keep the same actor from the other version? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, you could, personally, I would have started from scratch because it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. They want to make money at the end of the day. That's it. They're not a charity. They're not here to be nice to Zack Snyder or anyone else. They will keep the people who they can work with and who will make the money. Snyder wants everything his own way. We saw it again during the build-up to the Snyder Cut, where he wanted Green Lantern and they didn't want this and didn't want that. Well, whatever you think of those decisions, the IP's theirs, not his. And that's the problem with Snyder. He was acting like the IP belongs to him. That's no good. You've got to be able to work with people. You can't just say, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to get. And that's what you get with Snyder. There's no wiggle room with Snyder. So he can't work in that environment. That's the problem. I love it. I love his work. But he wants everything his own way. And here we go. Kal-El, BVS cost $250 million to produce, and it made $850 box office. Yes, as I said earlier, Kal-El, they wanted to make around $2 billion. They had Batman and Superman, the biggest characters in fiction and comic book history. They wanted, imagine, right, Spider-Man No Way Home coming back with 850. How do you think Disney and Sony would have responded, right? They expected the money to be, what it was for No Way Home because they had all these versions of Spidey. You've got Batman and Superman. They spent 250 million. And you think it's acceptable to a studio to just bring that when they've got Batman and Superman in the movie? And you know what? If they did a film for general audiences and not have a depressed Superman for the whole movie and not have Batman killing people, that film would have made more money. His take didn't work. What Zack was doing is something you do in an Elseworld once the franchise is actually successful. Kal-El, Wonder Woman was linked to the Snyderverse and Zack laid the blueprint and Patty directed it. Everyone loved. Yes, Zack Snyder did a very, very good job. I mean, Alan Heinberg, who's a comic book legend as well, did a great job with that as well. Wonder Woman is a great movie. Kal-El, when was the last Superman film before Snyder that made big money? Oh, right. You're going to throw this at me. Well, Superman the movie, Superman 2 made big money. And back in 83, Superman 3 made about 100 million, but you'd have to quadruple that in today's money. So those films did okay, right? So, for example, Superman 3, so Richard Lester didn't come back again. Superman 4 was a flop because they took all the budget away. But here's the thing, Kal-El, this is where you lose, and you lose badly, by the way, because Man of Steel cost nearly 300 million and made around 650, right? Which isn't enough money. So when I was a little kid, right, because this is what you Snyder fans do. So when I was a little kid, right, I used to get caught out doing something wrong, and I'd say, Mummy, but John did something bad a week before. So what I was saying is, it's okay for me to do something bad because somebody else did something bad. Just because those Superman movies didn't do too well or they haven't done well, it doesn't mean what Snyder did is acceptable. Davian Donaldson, will they ever release the air cut of 2016 Suicide Squad because it could be too little too late? I doubt it. Kal-El, in that time, a whole generation grew up not knowing Superman on film. MOS was a rebirth for new fans. No. MOS wasn't just for new fans. MOS wanted everyone to come in. Everybody knows about Superman the movie, a pop culture icon, about a pop culture icon. That is the biggest, most beloved Superman fan, whether Snyder fans like it or not. That's, Superman films ever, right? So you're making the excuse because there wasn't a Superman film and that's why it made the money that it did. No. The reason it didn't make the money it should have is because they had Superman, a character for children. Why do you think I loved him as a kid? For children, right? Snapping somebody's neck, which meant you couldn't take your children to watch the movie. It was a dumb decision by David Goyer to have the character do that. That's not Superman at the end of the day. I love Man of Steel, but they made mistakes. You can't keep on blaming everything else and everyone else but Snyder and the people who made the decisions. John, Mick, what top 5 DC characters would you like to see in live action that we have not seen before? Plastic Man, Green Arrow on film, which we haven't seen. I can't think at the moment. So, yeah, definitely Plastic Man, definitely Green Arrow. I'm trying to think, who else? Martian Manhunter, I'd like him to have a movie as well. Kal-El, Superman Returns flopped. Yes, we know. Reeves killed Zod in Superman 2. No. Where's the body, Kal-El? Where's Zod's body? Find me the body. Prove it. They just slid to the bottom levels. They're not dead, right? Or at least prove it. This is a bullshit lie that you Snyder fans come up with to try and justify what he did. Mummy, I did something wrong, but John did something wrong. It's the same thing again. You've all made it up. You've all made this thing up to try and justify it. Superman Returns is more core Superman than Man of Steel is, as much as I love Man of Steel. Kal-El, he snapped his hand and threw him in through him. It's a children's movie, so it's who told you it's implicated? Who told you he killed him? Who told you he killed him? Not the filmmakers. No one's ever said. Apart from you Snyder fans, you're just trying to justify him, Zod being his neck broken. Superman beat the shit out of a bully at the diner with powers. No, Superman grabbed hold of him and just pushed him. That's it. You see, again, you're lying to try and win. You're lying again. It's a lie. It's bullshit. You lot can't handle that Reeve is the iconic Superman, so you keep on trying to think of things. It won't work. You can't take it away. Henry Cavill's Superman grabbed hold of Zod, right, and crashed him into a petrol station that blew up, that must have killed the people parked there waiting to fill up their cars. What are you going to say about that? Kal-El, Reeve is my Superman. I'm sure he is. Or are you just saying that to get on top again? Maybe, who knows? And the point being that it is what it is, right? The general audiences didn't receive the film well. They didn't react well. Not just to Man of Steel, but the Snyderverse. That's the way it is. So, you grew up with Reeve. Right, now you're changing it. Callus, Snyder is a good filmmaker, but his DC movies suck. Bad casting and rushed decisions. I don't agree with that either, Callus. I think the casting was great. I enjoyed the films myself, but also the facts are that the general audiences didn't like them. So he's a good filmmaker. His DC movies, in my opinion, don't suck. And again, we've got to come up with more explanations than that than just saying something sucked. But bad casting, no, I don't think Henry Cavill. So what are you saying? You didn't like one casting, or you didn't like Jared Leto, right? So out of two castings, you're generally going to say it was badly cast, right? So when Jesse was cast, I wasn't happy, but he gave a tremendous performance. Cavill, great casting. Affleck, great casting. Gadot, great casting. Would you argue with that? Momoa, great casting. Would you argue with that? Would you argue with those castings? So you're just going to throw one casting at me because I said that the casting's good, right? I think Eisenberg actually proved himself. John, I watched Superman 2 the other day and there is no evidence that Zod died. Of course not. These people are propaganda merchants. We got another one here. Kal-El, Ben Affleck was a bad idea, in your opinion. Having an old Batman that early in the franchise was a bad decision. I agree, actually. I agree. But that's not Ben Affleck's fault. He did great. He's still a great Batman. Kal-El, it was. Callus. They are still there because they had to commit to it for a while. People, when they state their opinions, don't say my opinion. They speak generally, like their opinions are the rules. That's the problem with the internet. You can have an opinion, but it isn't a universal one. It isn't the truth. It's your truth. There's a difference. And it's very arrogant to believe that your opinion is the opinion. Callus, of course not. It isn't Ben Affleck's fault. He was a good Batman, but it was a bad idea to cast an old Batman. Dabby and Donaldson, I love the original Superman 1 to 3 in 2013's Man of Steel. I love the character of Superman. He can do anything he wants to bad guys in comics and films. It's entertainment at the end of the day. These characters are for everyone, not just for Snyder fans, not just for me. They're for children as well. They're not just for us grown-up men. They want families to go and watch them. If you have Superman snapping somebody's neck, children can't go. What responsible parent is going to allow their child to see Superman snapping somebody's neck? Kal-El, my nephew loved MOS. I love MOS. But the general audience didn't respond well to it. That's it. It's there. It's there in the box office. John, we have not heard anything from Ben Affleck about his future with DC. Yes, no, we haven't. So we've got to kind of assume at this moment in time it's not happening, and they're going to cast a brand new Batman in the new DC universe, which I think will be a good thing anyway. We need to move forward. We need a good OG Batman. That's what we need. Kal-El Affleck is in Aquaman 2. Yeah, he is, but what he's doing in Aquaman 2, we don't actually know. Could be a flashback, could be him screaming from the screen as he does in Flashpoint because he's stuck in an Elseworld. Could be anything. Callus, to be fair, the Batman was a great, dark and violent movie, and audiences still liked it. Having a Superman movie for kids isn't the issue. The Superman movie just needs to be good. That's bringing in no. Right, let's go back on this one, right? The Batman was a great, dark and violent movie, and audiences still liked it. Yes, that's Batman. That's Batman, right? The rules for Batman and the rules for Superman are different. Strike one. So you need children and families to come in. It's important. That's where the money is. That's why the MCU does so well, right? So it is the issue. And saying a movie just has to be good is just a generalization. It doesn't mean anything. What's good to you may not be good to other people. They're a business. Their first priority is families and children, right? And films that people can come into. Batman can be dark. Batman can be dark. It's there in his makeup. It works. You can't just have big fucking red heat vision coming out of Superman and making him look like fucking Satan. That's not who Superman is. Callus, I respectfully disagree. I think Superman needs an adult movie dealing with adult issues. It can still be hopeful. No, doesn't need that at all, in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. Because Superman is a character really there for families and children. Everyone else can come in, right? My dad sat with me and watched Superman the movie and loved it. Taking away the family and children and general audiences out of that won't make the money. And ultimately, it's about them making money. Kal-El, 4 was emasculated. John, if we get a new Batman, what Batsuit would you like to see? I would like to see the blue and grey Batsuit. I would just like them to take a design from the comics and a new Superman costume. I'd like them to take designs from the comics instead of making new ones up. Because Batman and Superman in the history of comics have had great costume designs, but they never used them, really. They never used them. So movies, especially these days, are a business. Callus, I prefer the newest suit, the comic suit with the purple line around the bat symbol. Dabian Donaldson, I highly respect your opinion and point of view, Mick. Man of Steel should have been a 15 certificate of the next snapping scene. Should have been cut out of the film. Look, you can have Superman kill people, but that's not who Superman is. That's not who he is. End of story. You can have him killing someone. That's what you want as a creative, right? I can't tell them what to do. But clearly, it hurt the repeat business. Callus, well, Mick, it's nice to see that you criticise the Snyder Cut. I love the Snyder Cut. I think it's a great CBN. But doing a Superman Rebirth story within that movie was a bad decision. So I don't hate the Snyder Cut. I love the Snyder Cut. I was the cult. Well, I'll criticise people who are propaganda merchants. And I think there's too many propaganda merchants in fandoms today that come up with absolute bullshit. Like what you like and leave what I like alone. That's it. But I swear most people these days just talk about films and don't fucking watch them. I just think people are pretending that they even like movies. I don't think people even watch movies that much who go on the internet. People talk too much about movies these days and don't actually consume them. Kal-El, Superman has killed before in the comics. Who? Who's he killed? Who's he killed? Tell me who he's killed. Even if he's killed once or twice, that doesn't mean you should have him killing in a film. That's not who Superman is. It's as simple as that. You know that. You know that's not who Superman is. You know, this is, you know, as a child, this character inspired me and inspired millions, maybe billions of people, you know, because he is a figure of hope. He, you know, Callus, Superman is an idea of hope and ultimately anti-war. Callus, an anti-killing. Kal-El, Zod gave him no choice in MOS. Yes, because it's in the script. That script didn't have to be written for him to have no choice but to kill Zod. Literally, Superman and the Kryptonians should have all been sucked into the Phantom Zone, and the sequel could have been an epic Phantom Zone movie. No, we had one of the best villains in comic book movie history. Let's kill him off so we can't fucking see him again. That's a good idea, isn't it? No, David S. Goyer didn't give him no choice. Kal-El, why are you on Snyder? Callus, can we be a little bit respectful, please, when we speak? Dabby and Donaldson, I'm sick to death of propaganda merchants too, Mick. I just want to enjoy films and TV series. Well, these people are not actually film fans. They're just people who talk about films. Kal-El, how should Superman have dealt with Doomsday if he can't kill him? Oh, I see. You're trying to be clever with me, Kal-El. Well, he did kill him in the comics, didn't he? Right? Doomsday isn't a person, is he? Right? So, and, you know, they dealt with that too soon in the franchise anyway, right? Callus, throw him into a black hole or the Phantom Zone. But no one said that Doomsday can't be killed. This is just propaganda as usual to try and win. You can't win. Didn't work, my friend. The Zack Snyderverse is over. It isn't up to you. It is over. That's it. John, did they ever show the Phantom Zone in Smallville? Yes, they did. And an awesome design. An awesome design in Smallville. Yes, season 6, season premiere. They were in the Phantom Zone. In season 5, Zod trapped him in the Phantom Zone, and it was awesome. The Snyderverse is over. The Snyderverse is over. La, 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 la. Accept it and move on. The Snyderverse is over. We're creating a new universe. It doesn't matter what you say. Callus, I'd honestly like a movie where Superman teams up with the Blue Lanterns since they are hope incarnate. That would be cool. That would be cool. Kal-El, but the Snyderverse actors are still around. Doesn't matter. They're not his actors. He just cast him. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right? And we don't know how many of them will be around when the new DC universe actually begins. All we know now is Henry Cavill's back as Superman. As far as we know. Doesn't matter if the Snyderverse actors are there. It's not relevant. They're rebooting the universe. Don't you understand? They're rebooting the universe. So it doesn't matter if they're the actors he cast. They're not his actors. He just cast them, right? We're starting from scratch. We are starting again. The Snyderverse is done. John, is that episode when Clark and Lois meet up with Kara again? No. Yeah, that was one, but that's not what I'm talking about. In the season 6 premiere, Clark is trapped in the Phantom Zone, and he goes up against a bunch of zoners. Callus, your arguments are flimsy, dude. They had to keep them for a while since WB had already committed millions to Snyder's movies. Callus, not you, Mick. Kal-El, I mean. I knew what you meant. Dabby and Donaldson, yes, the Snyderverse is 100% definitely over. Thank you. It's over. But some people can't accept it, Kal-El. They could have left him. Callous, because Cavill was that popular. Baz Super. There are two types of people who are fans of Snyder's work, and the difference between them is going to become more and more clear the further we move away from the Snyderverse. Yeah, look, there's the ones who genuinely love his work and appreciate it and celebrate it, and there's people like Kal-El, I'm afraid. And unfortunately, it's the negative people's voice we always hear and remember. And I feel bad for the genuine fans. Kal-El, it's been over since Justice League. We won with the release of the Snyder Cut. That's it. Congratulations. It was a great movie. Brilliant. And that was the end. Now, it didn't have to be the end if Ray Fisher and Zack Snyder didn't embarrass the studio. They were getting ready for a Justice League Series 2 on HBO Max. But Zack Snyder upset AT&T and Warner Brothers Pictures by exposing them publicly, as did Ray Fisher. They fucked it up because they were going to do a Series 2 and a 3 so he could finish off his arc. But Snyder went too far. John always enjoyed talking about Smallville. Oh, I love Smallville. Love Smallville, one of the greatest live-action iterations of Superman. Kal-El, so let it go, Kal-El. Let it go. Let it go. I watched, what's it called? Frozen. I watched Frozen and Frozen 2. Love it. Love it. Although Frozen 2 is a little bit depressing. A Shiny Pokemon Hunter, Man of Steel, and 300 are my favourite Snyder movies. They're very good films. Very good films. Callus, Mick, I think you'd love Pennyworth. It's a really good prequel series for Alfred. Yeah, I probably would like that. I did want to see it, but I unsubscribed from certain things and I can't see it at the moment. But yeah, that does sound good. Always wanted to see a bit more of Alfred because he's a very interesting character, actually. John, have you seen Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead? That's one Snyder movie I've never seen. And that's the one that James Gunn wrote, wasn't it? Kal-El, I mentioned Snyder and I'm immediately hit with cultists, but this is incorrect. Donner, Burton, Nolan, Snyder made excellent films. Gunn is not on their level. James Gunn probably isn't on their level, but to be honest with you, Zack Snyder's not on their level either. Let's ask Zack Snyder to go in a DeLorean and make Superman the movie in 1977, 6, right? Without CGI, without all his toys. Let's get Snyder to make a Superman movie where they had to invent VFX to make it possible. And I defy anyone to say, has any Snyder Superman flying sequence ever been as good as in Superman the movie when Superman flies after the missile, which for me is still the greatest Superman flying moment in live action history. Dabian Donaldson, take care, Mick. You as well. Have a good day and enjoy the rest of your evening. It's been great talking to you too, Dabian. Thank you again for coming in. If you haven't liked the video, please smash a like on your way out and thank you. I'm not calling you a cultist, Kal-El, but some of the things you say do come across that way. Kal-El, Nolan bought in Snyder. Mistake. James Cameron loves Snyder. Yeah, I love Snyder. Also, he is a kind, respected in the industry. Of course he's respected. Why shouldn't he be respected? These are not the issues, my friend. He's respected, or whether Jim Cameron likes him. It's nothing about that. We're talking about a franchise that didn't work, right? That's what we're saying. You know, not insulting him, not being disrespectful because I like his films. I like him as a director and as a person. The thing is, they simply didn't work. Dabion Donaldson, don't worry, I have already liked the video. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the homemade wine. Thank you very much. The internet literally has ruined the enjoyment of watching a film. Don't you think? I think it has. Because it's just too many fucking opinions out there. Hello, I agree. The internet has destroyed. I mean, the internet ruins everything, right? Because opinions are like assholes, as Dirty Harry said once in a movie. Everyone's got one. And, you know, if you're going through a social media platform, you see one opinion, the other opinion, it fries your brain in the end, especially if there are opinions that upset you because you have one view and other people have another. But we wasn't meant to consume each other's opinions. Opinions are something we used to talk about down the pub. Callus, I'd love a Superman movie where Kal-El fights Val-Zod and teams up to save Earth too. Yeah, you know, I think Val-Zod has got a great origin story as well. But Super, I agree, Mick. Now, it's all about picking movies apart instead of enjoying the experience. Yeah, you know, there's people who even pick Return of the Jedi apart. There's people who hate the fucking Ewoks. It's bad enough they hate Jar Jar Binks. Now they hate the fucking Ewoks. I loved the Ewoks as a kid. Even watched the cartoon. But that's the problem with the internet. They pick everything apart because all of a sudden everyone's a fucking movie expert, even though they've never even gone to, you know, film school or learnt in the process of making a movie. Bad Super no, Red Dead Callus. Well, to be fair, don't we want better movies? Criticism is good. Callus, you can have too much of one thing. You can have too much of a good thing. Yeah, you know, we all want good movies, but as I said to you before, you know, calling a movie good or bad is too generalized, right? There's too many people on YouTube. There's too many people on Twitter. Oh, this is member berries. This is nostalgia bait and all this crap, right? It's just words at the end of the day. And one opinion isn't the whole opinion. Basically, if all people are going to do is pick movies apart, it ruins the experience for people who enjoyed them. Because there are people who like The Last Jedi, right? There are people who like BVS. And seeing people pick them apart. So what might be a bad movie for you may not be a bad movie for someone else. What's a good movie to you? People are saying, right, that Andor is hardcore Star Wars. Because they're saying, oh, you know, it's better without lightsabers and lasers. Which is bullshit. Callus, that's elitist, Mick. You don't go to film school to understand what makes a good movie. God knows we need better entertainment free from extreme politics. Yeah, that's not my point, and that's not elitist from me at all, Callus. You can think it's elitist of me, but it's not, right? You keep on saying we need good movies, but you're generalizing the term good movies. You're talking about good movies in your opinion. We do have some good movies. We have had some. And maybe, right, maybe if it wasn't for all this ultra fucking criticism, movies wouldn't be so bad as they are. Maybe capes wouldn't be dominating the theatre as much as they are. But unfortunately, these people actually listen to what dumb fucks on the internet are saying. So it's not elitist. They keep on saying we need good movies. It's just a generalization. It means, you know, because I see people like you all the time, Callus, bad movie, bad movie, bad movie. Such a generalization. You know, you may hate a certain movie. I may like a certain movie. So what? Just by generalizing and saying it's a bad movie doesn't make it a bad movie. This is the problem with opinions on the internet. They ruin the experience of watching a movie, right? Because all people do today is talk about films instead of fucking watching them. So basically, propaganda merchants come on the internet and tear classic movies, not just the modern one, but classic ones. Callus, all right, but I do try and provide points for my opinion. Yes, your opinion, your opinion. Shiny Pokemon Hunter, I don't like HBO's Titans, but I don't tell people not to watch it. Callus, I'm curious though, what is a good movie to you? Well, generally, JFK, Born on the 4th of July, Casualties of War. To me, they're movies that I like, but I'm not arrogant enough, right, to say to people, you should like these movies. These movies are good. I say, in my opinion, JFK is one of the best films I've ever fucking seen. Casualties of War, Born on the 4th of July are just sensational movies. They're movies that stand out. I even like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman in Far and Away. I like a variety of movies, my friend. But that doesn't mean they're generally good movies. It just means that I like them. And this is the problem with the internet. Too many generalizations. Kal-El, good art is often divisive. Nobody wants cookie cutter homogenized film. Well, do you know what, Kal-El? I think you're wrong about that. Sometimes the cookie cutter movies are good. What I'm saying is I don't want to see cookie cutter movies all the time, which is what we're getting now. But cookie cutter movies are kind of good. Sometimes they can work. It doesn't have to be all one thing. It shouldn't always be an art movie. It should. Sometimes cookie cutter movies are good. Like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, cookie cutter movie, great. All those classic old Disney animated films. Yeah. Escape from Witch Mountain, things like that. They have their place. The Indiana Jones movies, they have their place. Kal-El, one of my favourite war films is Paths of Glory. I must say I haven't heard of that one. Ronnie Dodge, going to say this, James is going to give Bruce and Clark the perfect friendship in this new DCU. He certainly is. I think we're going world's finest, and I can't wait. Rather than being friends, than kicking the fucking shit out of each other. Callus, I need the bromance between Clark and Bruce. I think we all do. That's what we want to see. That's what we got in the comics mostly. I mean, in the animation. Bruce Timm's animated universe is good. Yeah, we've seen the Dark Knight Returns when they fight, but ultimately, most of the time in the animation, they've actually been mates. They don't always agree, and there's some good fun to be had from them not agreeing, but it doesn't turn out like Batman wants to fucking kill him, right? Literally. I think we're going to get a lot more positivity. And this is the problem with the modern filmmaker. They're obsessed with grit, real world. Everything has to be about the real world. And everything has to be subversive. They're obsessed with subversive storytelling. And I don't mind it now and again. If you want to do a subversive story, do it about non-comic book characters. You don't have to do it about Batman and Superman or Star Wars. Because I want a Bat Family movie later as well. Batwoman, Batwing, Nightwing, The Signal, Batgirl, Red Robin, Red Hood. Yeah, it's totally overdue, my friend. It's absolutely overdue. These are the kind of things that DC fans want. No, all. Dick Grayson was murdered by the Joker off screen. Who wants that? Who wants that? Let's be honest, right? I mean, I don't want Dick Grayson to be dead anyway. But if you're going to do that, show us. Don't tell us. Callus, wasn't that Jason? No, Snyder confirmed that Dick Grayson died in his version. And no, not Jason. In the comics, it's Jason. That's right. But yeah, he decided to kill Dick Grayson. Callus, really? Yep. He killed off Dick Grayson off screen. Yep. Callus, what the fuck? Yeah. And this is why Snyder winds people up, you know. But he knows that. He likes winding people up. But the problem is that doesn't get you anywhere. You know, that doesn't make the studio money. That's the problem. He took his shot. He made 3 movies. Congratulations. More than most of us will ever get. Yeah, there you go, Callus. Kal-El, this was going to be addressed in a branch-off movie. When, my friend? When was this going to be addressed? When was this going to be addressed? You don't announce that someone died before you show it. Callus, that sounded wrong. Well, this is a very lively live video tonight. Very interesting. I think the title helped. I do like it when I get a title right. I thought we were going to be dead tonight, but yeah, not bad. Don't forget, here on Movies TV Mad, we're here every midday Cypriot time, UK time, 10 a.m. So we're here 10 a.m. UK time every morning with the DC Universe Daily Live. Then I'll throw you a recorded video, and then we're live every single night. Kal-El, it has been lively. I normally watch your show, but this is the first time live talked on chat. You're more than welcome, Kal-El. Callas, I'd love a Red Hood and the Outlaws movie. The Dark Trinity is awesome. Red Hood, Artemis, Bizarro, Superman. I'd love to see Bizarro. I mean, I thought in Superman and Lois, he was okay. We didn't see that much of him. But I'd like to see a proper comic book accurate Bizarro. Even a Bizarro movie might be fun. These are the kind of things you're going to get with James Gunn. He spoke about Batmite. He'll probably put him in Peacemaker too. These are the things that DC fans want to see. Callas, have you read the Dark Trinity comics? I'm afraid I haven't, no. So, you know, you give me the information from the comics because I'm not really a comic book reader. I know. I watch the films and the TV shows. I admit it at least. I don't pretend I'm a comic expert. John, I hope they continue to use the John Williams Superman theme in the future. We shall see about that, John. Kal-El, we saw Bizarro in Justice League. He had a deformed face. Yeah, but that deformed face was an actor's face, and everyone kept on putting it up Twitter. And imagine if you're Henry Cavill, how that felt. Callas, it's great. Red Hood team up with Artemis and Bizarro. I think I know who Artemis is. Of course, Artemis is a Greek name, isn't it? Artemis. And Bizarro, I know all about Bizarro. Bizarro's great. I didn't mind the version of Bizarro in Smallville. Nothing like the comics, though. But I thought they did a good little version of him. Kal-El, Williams is Reeves' signature score for me. Yeah, that's been a debate as well, isn't it? It's an interesting one. Obviously, I grew up with Christopher Reeve. I love the John Williams theme. And then you've got the, idea of hope theme. They're both great, but ultimately, it is a weird situation, I must admit. But I think when people listen to the Williams thing, they think Superman. Maybe when they hear idea of hope, they think Man of Steel. Callas, I want a new, older and less jokery Lex Luthor in the new movies. Yeah, look, I think Rosenbaum, for me, is Lex Luthor. When I saw Rosenbaum as Lex in the pilot of Smallville, I thought, yeah, that's young Lex Luthor. That is OG Lex Luthor. I think Vincent D'Onofrio, who played Kingpin in Daredevil, would be a great Lex. I think he's born to play Lex. He'll probably be a better Lex than Kingpin. But there's a lot of great people who could play Lex. Yeah, we do need a more serious Lex. The Legend CJ, do you think they will do the President Luthor story arc in the DCU? I hope so, because I think it's a good one. Callas, you've got to feel bad for the actor that was supposed to play Deathstroke, only got a Legion of Doom teaser in Justice League. Yeah, he did show up, though, for a few seconds in the Nightmare Future in Snyder Cut. But apparently James Gunn is going to introduce Deathstroke. Whether or not that's a new actor or not, and probably would be a new actor, we will wait and see how that develops, Callas. I don't know why, but I just started thinking of the Highlander TV series, which I absolutely adored. Now, Adrian Paul, who is a Brit, who played Duncan MacLeod, actually came from Bromley, which is the place in the UK I was born and bred and raised and spent many a happier year in. So, Adrian Paul, you the man. Callas, how would you feel about a Blue Lantern movie? I know nothing about Blue Lantern, but I'm very passionate about the concept of the lanterns in general. One thing I don't want to see them sidelined on HBO Max. And I certainly don't want one of the best lanterns in Jon Stewart being dumped on HBO Max. So I'm sure the Blue Lanterns are awful. Awesome. Blue Lantern is awesome and it'd be great, but I don't know anything about them. So, yeah. John, did you ever notice the opening credits to the Masters of the Universe movie was very similar to the Superman movie opening credits? Yes, I did. I actually, warts and all, I loved the Masters of the Universe film. They really tried their best with that. But again, it was made by Canon. They withdrew the money like they did with the budget, the VFX budget for Superman 4. Terrible company. Callas, Blue Lanterns are hope incarnate. Green Lantern is will. Yellow is fear. Yes, right. I know the yellow ones are not too good. Pink is love and red is rage. Yeah, the Green Lantern Corps literally are Star Wars in DC. There's so many stories to tell, and they should be told cinematically. So I really hope they don't do this Jon Stewart show on HBO Max, because it's really, thinking about it is really winding me up. Shiny Pokemon Hunter. I like Shaquille O'Neal still better than Wakanda Forever. Callus, orange is greed. Callus, Jessica Cruz is an awesome Green Lantern. I think I've seen her in animated form and I do like her. I think she's been in animated before. Yeah, Jessica Cruz, right? They keep on talking about being representative and inclusive. Where's Jessica Cruz? Where's the Green Lantern Corps, man? A whole DCEU without the fucking lanterns. One kind of mate of Ray Fisher playing a lantern that we never saw. That wasn't good enough anyway. The fuss they made about that Green Lantern cameo was ridiculous. But I want to see the Green Lanterns catalogued properly. I mean, give them to a creative who knows them, who knows how to photograph them, who knows how to make a movies. Hamada had a plan of 7 to 8, Green Lantern movies. That's all gone out the window now. So, yeah, I don't want Green Lantern on HBO Max. I don't think that's the place. For Green Lantern needs to be like 10 movies, right? John, would you like to see Tara Strong as Harley Quinn in live action? I don't know. I don't know if she's got the right look, but she's got the voice. Callus, fun fact, in Earth 2, where Val Zod is, the Green Lantern is Alan Scott, but he is an aspect of the green like Swamp Thing instead of a lantern of the Corps. Interesting, yeah. I used to listen to that comic book explained bloke, but he ended up blocking me on Twitter. I think it was in my time when I was obsessed with the Snyder Cut, and he was being very disrespectful about Zack Snyder, and we got into it, I'm afraid. But I do like Comics Explained. It's a pretty good. Callus, comic historian, you mean that guy? I think he's a black guy. He reads the comics. Very good. I think comic historian might be someone. Sure, it's comic. I don't know. Anyway, whoever it is, I forgot the guy's name, but he's a black guy. Very good, very good. But we ended up falling out. The Legend CJ Swamp Thing and Booster Gold should be introduced. Bat Super. David S. Sandberg for the new Superman movie. Thoughts? I mean, I can't just say no. He wouldn't be my choice, but Shiny Pokemon Hunter. I read about the Red Lantern in the Supergirl comics. I like the Red Lantern Cat Deck Star. I tell you what I liked was the Green Lantern animated series. They did one series, I think it either came before or after the actual movie starring Ryan Reynolds. That was a good animated series. I've actually got it. It's so good. And I did learn a lot more about the Corps than I ever knew. So I know a little bit more about them now thanks to that animated series, but I don't know that much about them. But when I hear people talking about them, I think, wow, this is a vast mythology. This is so good. This should be in live action. It's such a shame that it's not. Callus, at least you admit that you fell to the Snyder toxicity and you now out of it. Well, listen, no, I don't hate Zack Snyder, and I still admire his films, and I love his DC films. So, yeah, I always say he made 3 really good films. Some of the fans, unfortunately, they're too much. They're just too much. They're on it 24 hours a day. It's too much. Bat Super. Comics Explained is the correct name. That's right. I do think it's a great channel. That guy's voice is very, very relaxing, and his knowledge is great. But unfortunately, yeah, I always regret falling out with people when I get blocked. But, you're in that's the problem with the internet. You lose it for that moment, and people just block you, and that's it. No more second chances. You just have to get on with it. And I'd never understand why people screenshot being blocked and celebrate being blocked. You're not really celebrating it. You're sad that you've been blocked. Don't be a twat. Callus, try Comic Historian. He has a great series on Earth too. I will do. Bad Super, I find it interesting that so many horror directors end up making superhero movies. Well, they're not really horror directors. It's just that they've directed horror before, yeah? So they're not with the one genre. But yeah, it does happen a lot. And David F. Sandberg has done well with Shazam. And Shazam 2 should be... I don't think Shazam 2 is the best thing ever, but I think it's an entertaining film. Callus, they are wild and creatively usually. But Green Lantern, the universe, for me, is we need that. In live action, in the movie theatre, not on HBO Max. The Legend CJ, what is your favourite Elseworld Superman story? I don't know what's Elseworld, though. That's the problem. So, Callus, they got to pay respect to Hal Jordan, too, though. Yeah, obviously, I mean, I hope they use it. Listen, they should use all the popular they should use all of them. They should catalogue the depth of that universe in a set of films, right? It's all there. Give it its own thing. It's so vast and exciting. So you don't have to miss out a Lantern. Give him a set of films. You know, continue it on HBO Max, but you can't just corner Jon Stewart on HBO Max. Callus Mick would make a good Blue Lantern. Oh, is that good or bad? John, do you think we will see Barry's Joker again? I personally think we may not see him, but who knows? We may do, we might not. Who knows? Because the way Reeves was talking about him, it was like an Easter egg rather than a tease for a sequel. But then again, Nolan did say he never meant for Joker to be in the Dark Knight. So they're all bullshitters. Who knows? Callus, you're hopeful. It's good. I think you've got to be hopeful in this life, my friend, because if you go on the negative all the time, right? I'm 50 years old, right? Life has turned out the way it is. I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. Sometimes we all feel sorry for ourselves. But if we carry on thinking, where's my life gone? Why haven't I done this? Why haven't I done that? There's no point. You are where you are. So get upset a little bit, feel sorry for yourself, wallow a bit, then shrug your shoulders, right? And think of something you fucking love and make yourself happy. Callus, negativity does tend to claim us a lot. Yes, and I think in the world we live in today, when we go on the internet, people can change our moods for the better or the worse, right? Sometimes there'll be a take that upsets. This is the problem today. But, and obviously, when you may see someone who's really popular, you might get a bit envious of that and think, why isn't that me? But the thing is, it's not you. And you don't have to be popular to, at the end of the day, why is their life different to yours? Because they're popular, right? It doesn't really matter. And if you were popular, maybe it wouldn't be for you anyway. And if you're popular, right, every time you post something, somebody sees it. When I'm on Twitter, nobody sees what I'm saying. I literally can get away with saying anything I fucking want. It's great. I've got it out of my system. Nobody responds. I love it. And I still do what I want. I still do videos. Nobody watches them, but I still do videos. I do everything the popular people do without any problems, you see. If I do something controversial, nobody cares because nobody cares. And that's good because I can do what I want. John, did you like Jimmy Olsen in Smallville? Do you know what? I was watching the series 7 finale of Smallville, and I was thinking today how good he was. Now, it doesn't make sense how Jimmy Olsen is that old, but they did deal with that by having him die. And we found out that was actually Henry James Olsen, not Jimmy Olsen. And Jimmy Olsen, as a little boy, was at his brother's funeral. So they sorted it out in the end because no way Jimmy Olsen should be that age when Clark's like 19, 20. But I did like him, yeah. The Ashmore family are a very good acting family. And brilliant. Because the older brother was in the X-Men, wasn't he? But yeah. Smallville was amazing. I love you like a brother, but it has to end this way. That's super. I'm in love with Lana Lang. Kristen doesn't age, does she? Kristen's amazing. Such a lovely girl as well. She really is sweet. Such a private person. Doesn't talk shit on the internet. Barely on the internet. And she got sucked into that whole Alison Mack thing. I really felt bad for her because she didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't involved in it. But she was sucked into it by Alison. So, yeah, I love her. She's great. What Lana Lang are you in love with, though? Are you in love with Kristen Kruk or are you in love with the one on Smallville? Superman and Lois. Callus, people appreciate your plays in Cyprus, right? So you do have success. Well, listen, I run this theatre company, this theatre group. We put plays, I produce, write, direct them, and star in them. But we don't get the hugest of turnouts. We do get a turnout. People do appreciate them. But, I'm not special. I'm not doing something on a big level, but I'm doing the art form. I'm doing what I love, and that's good, isn't it? Yeah, some people do like it and appreciate it, but yeah, it's not on a big scale. I'm not fucking, I'm not running a theatre in New York or anything, am I? But yeah, it's cool. John, Tom Welling was good in Lucifer. He was okay. I mean, I personally don't think Tom's the greatest of actors. I love him. I love him for Smallville. But yeah, I don't think Tom Welling is, where actors go to die. I don't think he's a great actor or anything. I think he's okay, and he did improve as Smallville went on. Bad Super, Christine Krug, the one on Superman and Lois, has no chance with me. I mean, I wouldn't say no to her, but Christine, yeah, everyone loves Christine, don't they? Who was the hottest girl on Smallville? Let's go back. I loved Alicia. She was hot. Don't blame Clark. Actually, Clark didn't shag her, did he? According to him, he told Lorna he never did. But yeah, Alicia was fit. Lois Lane was fit. Erica was fit. Obviously, Supergirl was very fit on Smallville as well. Alison Mack, I had a big crush on Alison Mack. Even though she's been a naughty girl, I'd still go there. I'd definitely still go there. I'll tell you a classic thing that happened on the Smallville set. I don't know if you heard about this. Michael Rosenbaum, who plays Lex Luthor, Alison Mack comes to work one day and she starts telling everyone to go to this Nixon thing. And they didn't know it was a cult then. So Michael whispers to Tom Welling. That's so Michael Rosenbaum, isn't it? But I do like Emmanuel Crick of whatever her name is, but I fancied her more when she was on The Mentalist. Do you know what? One day I want to complete The Mentalist because that looks like a fucking good show. I love the actor. He used to be on one of my favourite Aussie soaps called East Street. But yeah, I do like The Mentalist, but I didn't watch all of it. And Bruno Heller, who devised it and run that show, ran Gotham as well. John, definitely Erica. Erica was beautiful. Yeah, Erica's probably one of the most beautiful Lois Lanes ever. Yeah, I definitely would have gone there. Yeah, definitely. And then there was Emmanuel Vega, who played Helen Bryce, who got in there with Lex. I thought she was pretty bad. She was a bad gal and very hot. Actually, Lillian Luthor, the actress who played Lex's mum in the flashback, she was pretty nice as well. Now, Michael Rosenbaum had a crush. This is true. If you've ever watched Talkville, Michael Rosenbaum has a crush and had a crush on Aunt Nell. That guy makes me laugh, man. He just says whatever the fuck he doesn't even care, does he? It's really funny because most actors today are so PC, but he just says stuff, man. MSGT, oh come on, I'm a Snyder fan. I'm not whining about Gunn. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, it's different strokes for different folks, isn't it? There's no point whining about James Gunn. He's in control. They're moving on. They're moving on. John, also the actress who played Supergirl in Smallville. Yeah, she was nice. She was nice. A Canadian actress, Laura Van Der Voot. But I wouldn't say no to Melissa Benoist. Unfortunately, she's a feminist, so she wouldn't like my advances. But Melissa Benoist, yeah, that should be fun. And do you know she was topless in Homeland? She played a little role in Homeland for a split second where she was topless. I think it's crazy they then cast her as Supergirl. That's nuts, isn't it? And then there was Summer in the OC. I loved Summer in the OC. Oh. She was really dumbing down with Seth, weren't she? California. Bad Super. I love The Mentalist with all my heart. One of the few shows that got me hooked on the level it did. You have to finish the show, Mick. It is truly amazing. Yeah, I can't remember. I think I may have found out who Red John was and all that. But I can't remember now, so I can go back and watch. Yeah, that looked a fucking great show. He was kind of this bit like a Dr. Gregory House, you know, bit of a ball breaker. Yeah, so good. I like the episodes I saw. And I thought him and the lady who was also in Prison Break, he was with in that film, in that TV series, they worked well together. John, Erica still looks good. Erica, yeah, she's married. I think she's got a couple of kids. Yeah, Erica's another one who minds her own business, doesn't go on social media a lot. I mean, look, I think they're around our ages anyway, the cast of Smallville now. I like it, the Smallville, MSGT, but it seems that some Snyderverse fans are choosing to separate themselves from what they like just to be part of the new. There's no need to do that, like both be a DC fan. Listen, it's not for anyone to dictate what people do and say. It's up to people what they do and say. The only thing is that it doesn't really matter because Gunn and Saffron, Zaslav, DeLuca, and Adby are in charge now. It doesn't matter what people say on the internet. It's not relevant. You can say what you want. You can do what you want, but it won't make a difference. Android 1800 XX, hey, what's going on? Why are Snyder fans furious with Gunn? I'm trying to think. Basically, because he's not Zack Snyder, and plus he did have a little argument with a Snyder fan on the internet. But yeah, look, they don't like James Gunn. MSGT, only some are. Yeah, listen, I don't put people in boxes. Everyone's an individual to me. I take people on, you know, there are the cultists who go too far. You know what I mean? But most of the Snyder fans are great because I've experienced them. Because of what I do, I experience lots of different fans. And some who support something are twats, and some who support the same thing can be really nice. Unfortunately, it's always the twats that make the others, the good people, look bad, which is a shame. But it's done. It's over. We can appreciate what Zach did. I will always appreciate what Zach did, but it's done. It's over. I feel bad for him. I do. But it's done. Bad Super, Lucy Lawless. Oh, yeah, I like Lucy Lawless. I wouldn't mind getting Lawless with Lucy. MSGT, I can answer that. They see Gunn as replacing what they wanted, which was never going to happen. Snyder himself does not have a problem with Gunn. Well, listen, even if he has, he's not going to say it publicly. But it doesn't matter. It's all silly. It doesn't matter whether they have problems with Gunn, whoever's got problems with Gunn. It doesn't matter. He's in charge now. It's done. It's over. We have to see what he's going to do with the universe. From the way he's conducting himself thus far, I've been very impressed. John, did you ever watch X-Files? Did I ever watch X-Files? X-Files was one of my favorite shows. Wow, I bought them all on Amazon, Amazon Prime. They're great. The X-Files was classic. I mean, when you've got a character called Cancer Man, you know you're in for a ride. That show was amazing. And the X-Files movie, I went to the cinema to see the X-Files movie. What an achievement. Great show, great movie. X-Files is iconic. MSGT Mick, remember that episode with that mom strapped to a gurney under the bed? Freaked me the hell out. X-Files did a lot of freaky stuff. Do you remember the guy in the car who had to go between, 50 and 70 miles per hour or his brain would explode or something? Yeah, X-Files, man. Amazing, amazing. Chris Carter, an absolute legend. Shame about the revival episodes they did, not as good. But yeah, in its peak, X-Files was, appointment television, event TV. Back in the day, before fucking streaming, when everything became different, X-Files was on another level. X-Files has some really freaky episodes. I can't really watch X-Files at night time. Even the first episode's kind of freaky, the pilot. Cancer Man, mate. That guy was ruthless. That guy was ruthless. The only other character that I think is as ruthless on TV as Cancer Man was Lionel Luthor. I'm sure there's others. MSGT, yeah, it's almost impossible to capture lightning in a bottle. You can't just go back years later and think that you can do it again. The problem is, and I think this is a serious problem, you know, Chris Carter could have had the best of intentions, but maybe the people at Fox were interfering. You just don't know. And I think that's always the problem. But you're right. Once it's over, it's over. Smallville wouldn't be successful now. It wouldn't work. You know, it was a great show. Yeah, once you've got that lightning in the bottle, once you've done it, the problem is these days, there's too many revivals, there's too many reboots, relaunches. People don't know when to say goodbye. Enough is enough. And that's the problem. This is, you know, normally when these things happen, they don't work. But when you look at Cobra Kai, it worked there because creatively, they did a good thing. John, X-Files got even better when the actor from Terminator 2 came into the series. Robert Patrick, who also played Peacemaker's dad. Yeah, David left for a little while near the end of the run, and he came in as Agent Dogger, and he was brilliant. Yeah, he was very good. Android 180 just came back from another DC fan channel, and rumors are that we'll be waiting a long time for a new DC slate from Gunn and Peters. We'll most likely not get anything. Firstly, right, this isn't breaking news, right? They've only just started work. So it's obvious we're not going to get a slate. They probably know the slate, but they're not going to give it to us yet. They probably haven't finalized the slate. So Android 180XX, this isn't breaking news. It isn't rocket science. All you have to do is use your own common sense. And some YouTubers trying to use this as big news. Hilarious. MSGT, I like Smallville because it showed Clark Kent in a realistic way. That's why I was flawed with MOS. I don't think it's about realism. I think they showed Superman or Clark as he is in the comics, pure-hearted and a hero. He may not be wearing the costume, but he's got powers. He's got the personality traits that we love as Superman, and that's the thing. I don't necessarily think it's about being realistic. MSGT, I wouldn't mind seeing a proper Stargate trilogy. Yeah, that would be cool in the movies. There's been enough time from those shows, complete reboot, new actors, new story. I tell you what, Stargate movies in the theatre would be awesome. Android 180XX, when do you think we'll get this slate? Next DC fandom? I don't think we'll ever get another DC fandom. I mean, the popular choice is San Diego Comic-Con, but they could unleash that slate at any time. Could be at the end of this year, next year. Don't write off the opportunity that we do get the slate before the end of this year, or a portion of the slate, because they've been working behind the scenes for about 6 months on this. Now, I know they were only announced a couple of weeks ago, but they've clearly been there working for a while now. So they know the slate. They know the slate. We don't. And they could release a portion of it, kind of just to excite people and shut people up before the end of the year. Right, guys, we're going to sign off in a minute. I'd love to stay here for another 2 hours, but my eyes are going to end up closed. MSGT, yeah, but Smallville showed all the anxiety, separation, isolation, and loneliness that secret light Clark's would do to him. MOS showed that as a grown man. Well, here's the thing. MOS is Superman as Superman, and Smallville is a pre-Superman story, so it's different. I just, look, it depends what you like, isn't it? I think Smallville was proper, faithful to who that character is, whether he's a teenager or Superman. MSGT, you don't just erase that because you throw on a cape. Well, listen, this is the thing. You can't expect Superman. Look, Superman, whether it's Clark, Kal-El, or Superman, he's got a personality. He's pure. He has a belief system. He doesn't believe in killing. And if you are a Smallville fan, you understand they did an episode called Legion where Clark refuses to kill. MSGT, Donna versus Nolan, fantasy versus realism. Yeah, unfortunately, the modern day director is obsessed with realism. I don't think realism really has a place in fantasy. You can do realism stories, but you shouldn't really be picking on Star Wars and superheroes to be making that realism. So that's what I think. I think with Donna didn't want to mess with the legend, and he didn't. And I like that mentality. You know, let's not mess with white bread sandwiches, Granny's apple pie. This is American mythology. Let's keep it as is and make it great. And that's what Donna did. When, you know, Android 108XX, I appreciate what Zach has done with DC, and I want that what's best for DC. But hearing his response about the current DC state when he said, I wish them all the best, really hurt me. And I wasn't prepared. Oh, I didn't know Zach said that. I didn't realize that. I didn't even know that. MSGT, I hear you. But realism in fantasy certainly raises the stakes. I don't know if it does, my friend. I don't know if fantasy that was meant for escapism, like what they're trying to do with Andor and Star Wars. I watched A New Hope when I was a kid. It was full of lightsabers, laser guns, you know, gags, adventure. That's what Star Wars was supposed to be. So to try and turn that into realism, bringing realism into it, changes what it is, and it makes it less enjoyable. If you want to go and tell realism in storytelling, if you want to do fantasy in realism with your original takes, that's great. But I say leave the iconic escapism alone. Because what we're seeing now, we're not seeing any fantasy. We're seeing realism in all fantasy now. And that's what's taken the fun out of fantasy. It's everywhere. Bad Super, 70s to early 2000s was the best time period for movies and TV shows. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the peak of American television was from around 2001 to about 2009. I think that's when we got Smallville, 24, Alias, Lost, Prison Break. That was the peak of American television. But also we had Life on Mars around that time, which was sensational as well. We had Stephen Moffat's Jekyll miniseries, which was also sensational. Android 180 Zach gave a response about the current DC state. Very interesting. You'll find it on YouTube. He said he hasn't gotten a call ever since the changes with DC. Yeah, I know he said that. Yeah. I didn't realize he said I wish him all the best. But yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. It's done. It's done. You know, he tried what he tried. It didn't work out. You know, it's whether or not you want to be for a director or if you want DC to be the best it can be. MSGT, that's why Snyder fans need to get a grip. Snyder is fine with Gunn. There's no issue there. Oh, don't worry, they'll make it an issue. They will make anything an issue, and that's the problem. Right, I'll read a couple more comments and I'm going to shoot off everyone. MSGT, putting my Christmas lights up outside. Take care, Mick. Laters. Good man. That's what I like to hear. This has been Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss this beautiful perfection. Android 118XX. Still think he will be with DC again, but not the his way. But Gunn's and Peters and Zaslav way. if you know what I mean. Zach responded saying he hasn't gotten a call, which means he's still open to DC. We shall see, Android 118XX, what the future holds. Until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Thank you very much, Android 118XX. Auf Wiedersehen indeed. See you tomorrow. Back at midday, 10 a.m. UK time for the DC Universe Daily Live. A little recorded video for you, and I'm back live in the evening again. So until we see each other again, goodbye.